Consistency. A lot of people join Twitter and then literally do nothing and nothing for months. You know what? You're wasting your time. One of the most important things about Twitter is that you show up on a regular basis. That's how you're going to build your brand and your credibility. A really good story that illustrates this is a guy in Bermuda called Johnny Barnes. Johnny came out of his bus depot one day and just decided to walk to a local roundabout and start wishing everybody that went past in their cars a happy day. On day one, people thought he was mad. On day two, people still thought he was mad. But 25 years later, he's still doing it. But the difference is now they've built more roads so more people can go and see him. They've made the roundabout even bigger, and they've even put up a statue to commemorate what he does. The moral of that story is he kept showing up. And that's what I want you to do. Keep showing up, because that's how you're really going to benefit from Twitter.
I hear a lot from different businesses that Twitter is dead, it's irrelevant. Why should we be on Twitter? What are some pros to using Twitter?
So I hear that all the time too, and it's absolutely not the case. It's on the rise. Popularity is growing, and Twitter is really unique in that the real time that it embraces is what makes it so special.
What's kind of the first steps once I sign up? What should I really look at?
So first steps, you definitely want to start following like-minded users.
Okay.
And that can also help you to get in front of their followers, which will give you a really organic presence. And then also go and engage with other users on Twitter. Go and click retweet on something that makes sense to your business that would also be of value to your followers.
So what about my profile? I know there's some things that I should probably do just to make sure it's consistent. What does that look like?
With your profile, you want to make sure that you have, do you have a logo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to put your logo out on your Twitter and definitely make sure your handle is consistent. So that's that @ symbol and then the name of your business, preferably. Make sure that's consistent across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because after all, you're branding yourself.
Right.
And then from there, you have like a little bio description right beneath the photo and your handle.
Cool. So one of my just absolute favorite topics ever are hashtags. Hashtag I did it all for the cookies, right? Tell us about kind of the best practices of using hashtags. Should we just go on a hashtag tangent? Are there best practices? What should we avoid? Give us a lowdown.
Yes, so definitely reel it in. Don't need to go hashtag crazy.
Okay.
But I also love hashtags. It's a great way to get more exposure. They're free to use.
So next up we have really paid advertising, because I know I've seen some paid promotions on Twitter every now and then. Is there any relevance to that? Should we test it out? What are your thoughts?
I always say start small and be sure you're paying attention to the metrics. Otherwise, you're just blindly spending money, right?
At the end of the month, you're like, wait, where did my money go?
So just start small.
So Emma, we're tweeting a lot, we're searching hashtags, we're using hashtags. How do we know if what we're doing is working and relevant? Is there any place to go in and check what we're doing?
There absolutely is a way to track. Twitter has this account dashboard that you can actually see even what time of day people are looking at your tweets, which could really be informative, And then, so thinking about the time of day, looking at your Twitter analytics to see what works best.
Yeah.
But also the top tweet is really informative. So
what do you mean by that?
Like the tweet that got the most impressions, the most engagement. That's going to help inform the next tweet and your strategy.
Okay. So there's two different types of retweets, if you will. There's retweet and there's a quote tweet.
Yeah, so while it's fast and efficient to simply click retweet, back to the million other things you're doing.
Right.
We've found it to be more beneficial to quote, add your own caption, because then you're adding your personal flair to it. And you're really explaining the relevance of that tweet to you. Why are you retweeting it?
Sometimes I feel like I'm spending all day on Twitter. Is there a way for me to not have to do that? Can I just go and do it just once a day? Because I schedule things. Help me out here. I don't want to spend all day on social media. I've got a business to run.
Absolutely. So there are ways to outsource.
Okay.
If you don't want to do this, GoDaddy Social. There are teams that can take this off your plate. But if it's something you want to do on your own, you want to be beneficial with your time. So I strongly encourage a content calendar.
Okay. What's
that? So that way you get a calendar, a blank calendar, and you just plan out a couple days a week that you want to tweet and do it months in advance. So then you don't miss piggybacking off of a holiday. Even unofficial holidays like National Hot Dog Day or
There's literally a random holiday for every day.
Yeah,
you
and
can
not
spin
all
off
of them are going to make sense to your business,
Right.
but if they do, in advance, you're not rushing and scrambling like, oh, I haven't been on Twitter for a few
Right.
days, and I just need to go out there and tweet.
Yeah. 'Cause
No.
One tool that I found that is pretty cool is TweetDeck. Have you checked that out?
No, I haven't.
So TweetDeck actually lets you, it's inside of Twitter itself, but it lets you schedule out your own tweets so that you don't have to go in every day and post. You
Sure.
can literally take some time or chunk out of your Monday, right, and schedule
Totally.
out your content calendar, and it'll just spin it for you.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what your Twitter or tweeting strategy is going to be. At the moment, you're limited to 160 characters. There's talk that they might be changing, delimiting that. I don't know what impact that might have on what I'm about to say, but nevertheless, at the moment, it's 160 characters. And within that 160 characters, you've got to write some very interesting, engaging content that's on a variety of different subject matters. So what I tend to say is look at your overall marketing strategy, and when you go out and talk to people, what are they interested in hearing? You'll be wanting to talk about your own products and services, the benefits and features of those, but equally you should also be talking about industry related news, maybe put some tips, like top tips, how-to guides up there, and some statistics that people are going to find engaging. So my second tip is based around who you should be following. Now there's so much noise out there at the moment. It's a common mistake is for people new to Twitter just to go out there and follow loads of irrelevant people. So I tend to now follow people who are within my industry, interesting people who are going to be publishing interesting content that I would actually be interested in reading. Notice the word is interesting. So be choosy about who you're following. What you don't want is your timeline just to be filled with noise. With Twitter, it's really important because it's like a little microcosm of information. Making sure that your brand and identity is really clear on that page, and you basically have like 2 or 3 opportunities to get your brand put out onto your Twitter profile. So you've got the main banner image which appears across the top, you've got your little avatar pic which appears within the banner, you'll have your company name or your personal name in there, your website address, and maybe a short biography. So there's 5 key bits where you've got to get that your own brand identity across and make it look really cool. The fourth question I very often get asked is about whether somebody who works within a business or organisation sets up an account specifically for their business or for their personal profile. So I think what you've got to ask yourself is, what's my core business strategy here? Am I promoting me or my business, or do people come to my business because they through me, or what's the link there? And how do you go about promoting your business? If you're kind of faceless within your organisation, then really why do you need your own personal Twitter account? Why not make it about your business? But equally, if you have a number of stars within your business, get them to set up their own personal. You can have your own business account, but then they each can have their own personal account, building their own profiles and raising the profile of your business. So the main benefits of using Twitter, it's obviously got SEO benefits because you can drop links in there, you can link back to your own website and things like that. You can be found quite easily. Twitter gets boosted into Google's page rank in one of its specific sections of its organic search engine listings. So it means that you can appear in Google's organic search engine rankings. The downsides to Twitter, I find that there's only so much you can get into those 140 characters or 160 characters initially, and there is the potential, as with all social media platforms, for employees to misuse it. Twitter's also looking to heavily monetize areas of its service, and this could have a negative effect on it.